my channel. I hope that you're all doing really, really well tonight, and before I ramble, I just want to say I hope that the audio on this video will be okay. Normally, I turn off the air conditioning in my rooms when I record these videos, just in case they're too loud, but I'm in one of those hotel rooms that has an adjoining room right now, which is locked. It can be opened, but there is a door in between my room and the room next to it, and I can totally hear the person next door, which has never happened before in my 2.5 years of this flight attendant lifestyle. I've been in rooms with the adjoining door, God, a lot of times, and it always creeps me out, because, I don't know, I just don't trust it. I don't like these kinds of rooms. It's weird. But anyway, that was insane. My suitcase just flapped closed. I had it propped open on the little suitcase stand, and that scared me. I'm over here talking about how having a door in the wall between myself and the person in the room next door scares me, and then something goes bump in the night. Anyway, it is nighttime. You can see it this time. Isn't that kind of cute? I'm in the cuck chair of the hotel room next to the bed, if you've seen that meme, and I'm using the bedside lamp as my light for the evening, and it is not super late. It's not even 7 p.m. yet, but I'm on the East Coast, so it's already dark, and I thought twinkle lights of the city, I guess. I mean, we're not downtown, so there's no skyscrapers or anything, but that's just a little bit of a different background. I thought that could be fun, some variety. We're in Fort Lauderdale this evening, by the way, and I'm so tired. I'm more tired than I need to be because my schedule today was not really that demanding. For some reason, I woke up at 2:50 in the morning, yesterday morning, not this morning, but yesterday morning. And yesterday morning I was at home. I was on day 2 of 2 for my off days. I've been taking 2 days off per week, 2 consecutive days off per week, and 5 days on. I've been liking that schedule for myself for the past couple of months. When I bid, I can more or less pick my schedule as far as what days I do and don't want to work. I still can't pick my trips 100% yet, because obviously at 2.5 years of being a flight attendant, I don't have the seniority required to go to Japan and nowhere else. So, but I'm very fortunate. I can work when I do and don't want to, so I've been doing this Tuesday, Wednesday off thing. And anyway, yesterday was day 2 of 2 of me being at home on my off days, and I had fallen asleep pretty early the night before this happened, and then I woke up at 2:54 or something in the morning. I remember because I looked at my clock and I saw rumble and pedal at the foot of my bed. It's usually rumble at the foot of my bed and Mila curled up on my chest, but Mila was actually in her perch, which I can see from my bedroom. All the cats have their own room, and it adjoins my bedroom, and it is connected by French doors and 2 windows, which is a cool kind of feature to have windows indoors. And the window is at the foot of my bed, and the cat's tree is on the opposite side of that window, so I can see Mila on her cat tree perch from my bed. And I woke up, and it was not Mila and Rumble in my bed, but it was Rumble and Petal in my bed, which Petal usually, she keeps to herself more. She's out and about, but she does her own thing. And especially because she and Rumble were like butt to butt. They were making contact with each other, and Petal usually likes to be the only one getting attention at a time. Like, she will come and seek me out for pets and scratches, primarily, especially if I'm on the couch. She really likes attention in the living room. I think she likes being around my plants. But if Rumble even looks at me when I am cuddling and scrunching up on Petal, Petal will hiss at him, and they get along. They don't have beef or anything. She just doesn't like when somebody else gets attention while she's getting attention, which I totally understand. But so anyway, that's why I remember what time it was, and I just thought I was gonna go back to sleep. I thought it was not gonna be an issue at all. I was just gonna go back to sleep. I was really gonna sleep in, have like a lazy day, because I really didn't have anything that I needed to do. I didn't have any plans. I had gone to Trader Joe's the day before, and I got a little something to eat, so I didn't need to go anywhere. I didn't have any chores to do, really. I mean, I had like 1 load of laundry that I could scrape together, but it would have been like a half load of laundry, and I didn't have any dishes in the sink, and my apartment wasn't cluttered or messy. I definitely needed to check in and water my plants, but that's not really a chore. I get into that. I like doing that. So I just thought I would have like a nice lazy day and sleep in and just hang out with the cats, but for some reason I just couldn't fall back to sleep. And I figured, whatever, waking time is probably better than sleeping time, because then I can consciously, spend time with the cats. Since I'm gone so often for work, it's nice to just kind of be around the house doing nothing and just hanging out with my little ones, my little fur babies. So I didn't go back to sleep, and then I probably got out of bed around like 3:30 or 4 or something, just to like fuck with Mila, see what she was doing. She was up in her perch, and she was looking out the window because it had snowed overnight. It snowed, not like super heavily, and it had already stopped snowing by the time I woke up, but it was enough to blanket everything, and it's cold enough now that snow has stuck. It was still on the ground when I left for work this morning. So that was really, really pretty. I love when it snows, and apparently so does Mila, because she decided not to go for her cuddles in her nice warm bed with mommy, because she likes to get under the covers with me. It's super cute. But and by the window, I keep the windows closed, but naturally by a window it's gonna be colder, and she was fine with that. She was just looking out the window. She loves to observe. It's very cute. So we got snow, so then it was like extra cozy because there's ice crystals on the windows, something I'm still not over getting to see, being from California, and I've never seen snow before. And whenever it snows and the ice frosts on the windows, I think it's so pretty. I'll stand there for a little bit, scrunching up on Mila and her perch and looking at all the ice structures on the window. I probably have like 1,000 pictures of those ice structures from that first year that I moved to Minnesota, and the first time I saw that and saw snow. But then I just had like a really oddly productive day because, like I said, I didn't have anything on my to-do list, but I think I just got into like one of my flow states, which happens sometimes because I mean, I do have a tendency towards procrastination and laziness. I think it's self-deprecating, but what it is ADHD, and I love to procrastinate, and if I let myself fall into that habit, then the only way that I get really productive is if I shove something off for so long that the impending deadline finally jumpstarts my action, which is the type of student that I was in school, and something that a lot of people relate to, and something that a lot of people with that kind of, ADHD brain relate to, at least from, being on the internet and hearing a lot of other people talk about having that experience, is that sometimes you just get these like random bursts of like, you get into like a good flow state, and then you're just like doing everything. And that's what happened to me. Like, when I decided to go brush my teeth, I had my toothbrush in my mouth, and I looked over, and I had recently scrubbed my tub, so it was clean, but like, I had taken a couple of baths since then. I love my tub. I'm very tall, not very tall. I'm tall for a woman. I'm 5'10", and so I love having the big bathtub that I have now. It's like an old clawfoot bathtub, because if I slouch down into it, pretty much only my knees pop out of the water, versus any other tub that I've ever been in that's not like an old school tub. Like, think of a tub you see in a hotel room, any tub that size, I have to choose if I'm either gonna like sit in it and have my legs in the tub, or if I'm gonna like lie down in it and kick my ankles up on the wall, and then I'll have like my torso in the tub. But I can never have most of my body in a tub that size, but I have a tub that size and I love it. So I was really excited for it to start to get cold, because I started taking baths, and so I had like a little bit, like soap scum or whatever, because I absolutely do bubble baths, and I use Epsom salts, so there's like mineral buildup on the tub, but like not bad. But I was brushing my teeth, and I looked over, and I was like, I could clean that. I should probably clean that, because I had gotten the pink stuff that you see on TikTok, and it actually works great. It's not overhyped at all. It's a great product. I almost kind of like using it. It's very satisfying. So it started with a tub, and then I did my sink and the mirror and the toilet and the cabinetry, and I have a dehumidifier in my bathroom, and I wiped that down too. And then, I was just, like I said, I really didn't have anything that needed to get done, but boy did I find things. Like, at one point I was cleaning the top of my refrigerator. Like, I was on a step ladder cleaning the top of my refrigerator, like scrubbing the top of my refrigerator. And like, what I bought for myself at Trader Joe's, because I knew I wasn't gonna feel like cooking, and also since it was the day before I went back to work, if I made something big right before I leave again, then that's more likely that it'll just go to waste. So when I was at Trader Joe's, I got some frozen orange chicken, and I already had jasmine rice at home, so I was just gonna eat orange chicken with jasmine rice. And then I got like a little bit motivated, and I used my Instant Pot to make saffron rice with like lots of butter, and it was delicious. I had saffron rice with butter for breakfast, and then for lunch I had saffron rice with butter and orange chicken. And then I spent like the afternoon just like drinking tea, cleaning up my kitchen, and watering all of my plants, repotted a few things, just did some like detailed plant care that I get to do on like that weekly basis, because when I'm not at home on my days off, my max rotation length is 3 days, so I spend at least like 6 hours overnight at home every 3 days, and I'll pop in and check on the plants, and if anybody's obviously very, very thirsty, then I'll water them. But once a week is when I really get into my plant collection. There's over 100 of them, and that's when I really like, okay, watering, pruning, who's crispy, who needs this and that. I check for pests and clean off the leaves and stuff, and I can really, really enjoy doing that. I'll do that slowly and just kind of peacefully, and I did that for the afternoon. I had to pause at a certain point because I have my 5-gallon container of nutrient, and I use water conditioner to condition the water that comes out of my tap, and then I use a liquid fertilizer, and I have a 5-gallon like jug of that water pre-made at all times on a stand with an electric pump, so that I have my plant water all ready at any time, because you put the water conditioner in and then you have to wait 30 minutes before it's done doing its thing. So I like to have it on hand, but I ran out like 3/4 of the way through watering my plants, so then I made up the next 5 gallons of that, and then I use a turkey baster to slurp up any of the water in the trays from the plants that I already watered, and I put that back in my watering can, and I reuse it to water a couple of more plants, and I try to keep reusing the same water throughout all watering, and try to end up with like only, without having to have any that's left over. I did have like the tiniest little bit left over, but I have a very thirsty, very large calathea and a very thirsty, very large peace lily that can always withstand getting like a cup, a little, 1/4 cup to a cup of extra water thrown in them, so I just gave it to those ones. I repotted 1 or 2 things, and I bent a small wire trellis for a Hoya that I got, actually, like, what was that, last week when I was in Orlando. If you see the plant haul video that I posted a couple uploads ago, I really like putting my smaller Hoyas on wire trellises, so I made one of those, and my building has had not working laundry for the longest time. I have been fighting my landlord about it behind the scenes, and he finally hired some staff, and there's a building manager now that I actually quite like. She's very kind, and she's as fed up with him as I am, or at least she acts like it, and so she called me to be like, hey Aaron, I just want to let you know that a washing machine has been installed, and it's actually free because we don't know what company we're gonna go with for the coin op, so for now it's free if you want to go check it out, because she hadn't been to the property. So I was like, yeah, let me actually walk downstairs while you're on the phone, and I walked downstairs, and yes, there was a washer there that had been dropped off. The old washer was still there, hooked up and plugged in, and the new used washer was just sitting there. I was like, girl, this man had it dumped here. It's not usable. It's not hooked up to anything. And she was like, oh my god, I cannot. So I finally got somebody to come hook it up, and then I had like that half a load of laundry to do, so I scrounged that together with a couple of small blankets that are kitten sized because I make them for my cats, and I put them in the wash, and it did nothing. He replaced our broken washing machine with a broken washing machine, because a cycle should take like 45 minutes max, because I just do like cold water delicate wash, and yeah, I put it in, it locked the lid, it spun the drum but didn't add any water, and then it unlocked the lid as if the cycle was done. So I texted her that update that he gave us a broken washing machine to replace our broken washing machine, but I left the clothes in there. I came back down like 4 hours later and they were sopping wet, but had like the water had obviously been dumped in the drum and then had been drained from the drum, but the clothes clothes had not been spun dry. They were sopping wet, and it appeared as though the drum never actually spun because I dumped the detergent on top of the clothes, and there was like a couple squiggles where the water line didn't rise all the way up, and it never spun it around, so it never got agitated, and the clothes never tumbled around, and the soap never mixed in. So it did something, but what it didn't do still was wash the clothes. So, and this has been going on for months, so this saga continues. But that's fine, because I have plenty of work uniforms for now. It's just annoying, frustrating, obviously. But, I mean, besides that, it was a really good day. Because like I said, I didn't wake up with a to-do list of things that I needed to do, but I just got into one of those states where I was just like peeking around my shoulder, like, what can we fix a little bit here? And I just kept doing that all day, and I didn't really lose steam and ever, really. I just ran out of things to do, and all the while, when I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I didn't have anything that I was watching on Netflix, because I just... Okay, so I finished watching season 3 of From. I was watching that episode by episode as it got released. I love From, and that's by the creators of Lost, and I love Lost, but I hadn't watched Lost except for the first time I ever saw it, which was like 3 years ago. So I rewatched it, and I finished rewatching it recently, and then I didn't have anything else to like binge watch, and I'm a TV show girl, not a movie girl, so I was like, this is fine, since I'm not invested in any series, I'll just kind of like throw something on to distract me, thinking that I would fall back asleep. And for some reason I started watching Dexter. I never watched Dexter, but it's been recommended to me 1,000 times, and I don't know why I never did watch it. I think when it was popular, I was really into like Bones and stuff, because for a brief time I wanted to be a forensic scientist, but then I grew up and I was like, I don't want to work in the criminal justice system at all. But I was like super into all the forensics TV shows, and I'm pretty burnt out on anything like cop or like forensic sciencey, and just like cop TV shows aren't really my thing, so I never watched it. And then I was like, I'll just throw it on, and then actually I'm really liking it so far. I kept watching it all day as I was doing like chores and stuff, and then I was watching it last night when I was trying to fall asleep, but I never really got tired. I made cookies. I ate a bunch of cookies and milk, and then I was just kind of like screwing around watching Netflix, which, since I did end up getting invested in the TV show, was not a good choice, because then I looked at the clock and all of a sudden it was 2:17 again, and I was like, oh, I should force myself to go to sleep now, because I had a very early report this morning. I had set my alarm for 3:10 if I was gonna wash my hair, and then 4:10 if I was just gonna do makeup, and my hair wasn't like that dirty for me going to be putting it in a braid. So I set my alarm for 4:10, put on ASMR, fell asleep for a little bit, struggled to, but I did. Got up this morning and got ready for work, and it was very cold. One of the last things that I did last night was move my car, because when I got home from Trader Joe's the night before, I park on the street. There's usually street parking directly outside my apartment, but the night before last night was one of the rare occasions where there was not parking, except for way down at the opposite end of the street. And like I said, it had snowed and the snow was sticking, so it was very cold, and I didn't feel like walking through all of that at 5 o'clock in the morning, dragging my suitcase and wearing my work shoes and my work uniform. So I was like, let me move my car before it gets too much later. And I didn't think it was gonna be all that cold. Like, I went outside wearing my shirt and like an old camo jacket and like jeans, no gloves. I just kept my hands in my pockets, and I walked outside, and I swear I thought the boogers inside my nose were gonna freeze. Like, the inside of my nostrils started to feel like really tight. I was like, I think my snot is frozen. And my fingertips started to burn, even though I kept them in my pockets. I moved my car really quick, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to do that again in the morning. So I set out gloves, and I added a scarf to my suitcase because I'm going to be in Toronto tomorrow, so it'll be cold there. And I put on my balaclava because I didn't want my nostrils to freeze again getting down to my car this morning. So when I left this morning, I think the weather app, it said the temperature was -2, but it feels like -20. You know how they give you an estimate of what it's supposed to feel like with the wind chill or whatever. So it said it felt like -20, and it definitely did feel like -20. So I went down wearing my balaclava and my gloves and my big work coat, and I hauled my stuff into my car, and then, I drive an '06 Honda Accord, and it's not like tundra cold. You can definitely benefit from having your cars in a heated garage, but it's not like Alaska where I see people plugging in their engine blocks to keep their car from, not turning on, or like, I think in like Yakutsk, that like place in Russia that's supposed to be like the coldest place on earth, they just never turn off their cars if they know they need to use them. So, my car, she thought about it for a second. When I turned the key in the ignition, she thought about whether or not she was gonna turn the engine for like more seconds than I was comfortable with. It was like a good 1, 2, 3. She turned. So I turned on, got my car working. But then the heat that I had turned all the way up before I turned my car off last night, I gave it a second to like warm up before I started to turn the fan on to push the air through, so it wasn't just pushing cold air until it had warmed up, except it wasn't on. My dash was not responding. It was showing the time and everything, even though I don't have the clock set correctly. But the lights for the air conditioning indicating like whether or not you've hit the button, they weren't responding. It wasn't illuminating, and it was not conditioning the air. So I'm driving with my gloves and my balaclava on, with my hoodie up and my big coat, and I'm like, oh shit, I think my car's heating system might have given out on me. And like right as I was having that thought, I had probably been driving for like 4 or 5 minutes, and I was going through the last light in my neighborhood before I get on the freeway to drive the rest of the way to work, and then it kicked on. So that was a relief. It just needed a second to think about whether or not it wanted to clock in this morning, but eventually it did. And I wasn't really like that tired, because I mentioned in a previous recent video that my work schedule lately is kind of just worked out to where I've been working between like 12 p.m. to 12 midnight, which is exactly my kind of vibe. I like sleeping in, and and then when I'm not at work I sleep a lot, because when I'm at work I sleep not a lot. And I have the type of, system. I'm not somebody that needs to have like 8 hours of sleep per night, or 7 or 6 or whatever amount of hours makes you feel rested. I do not need to have that same amount every night. And I've read that they've done studies about this too, how some people differ from others, where some people need to have a set amount of sleep on a routine schedule every night in order to feel rested and functional, whereas others, let's say that you need to have like 7 hours of sleep per night, 7 nights a week. That's what, like 49 hours per week. Is that right? So, but let's say that you don't get 7 per night, but what if you have one day off that you don't have any responsibilities and you sleep for like 12? That 12 can last you for like 2 days. It goes into like a sleep tank of sorts, and your body can kind of dose it out if you get less sleep on the nights that follow, which I've always found to be true for myself. Not even to the point where I can rely on that if I have to, but more so that like if I sleep extra one night, I just know that I'm signing myself up to not sleep a lot the next night, because I can't really seem to sleep heavily for consecutive days in a row. So on my first day off, I did like really nothing. I slept like until like 3 p.m. But to be fair, I didn't get home from work until like 1 or 2 in the morning. And then, you know, you add the additional time that it takes for me to come home and put all my stuff away and get changed and get settled and spend an appropriate amount of time cuddling the cats while being still awake and poking my head in on my plants. I probably wasn't like asleep until like 4 o'clock in the morning maybe. And I woke up probably at like 9 to 11, and then since I didn't have anything to do that day, I just went back to sleep. Because don't get me wrong, I love to sleep a lot and I love to sleep in, but I know that if I'm going to indulge in that, I'm going to pay the price of not sleeping a lot the next day, because my body doesn't like to sleep a lot multiple days in a row. So I kind of knew that I was going to be doing what happened last night when I did that. So I ended up having a surprisingly productive day yesterday. I just really got in the zone, and that was nice. And it was just like staying around the house and putting a few things to order put me in a good mood. And then I had what essentially equated to a nap before I went to work this morning, but I was feeling really good. I have a very easy trip structure for today. I flew from Minneapolis to Atlanta, and then when we got to Atlanta, we had like a 3-hour sit until our next flight. So that I was also banking on, you know, it didn't really matter that I wasn't going to sleep a ton before work, because I only had one short flight before I got to take a nap. So when I finished that flight, I went to the crew lounge, and even though the airports were insanely busy today, I guess people are trying to preempt the Christmas travel and get out a week in advance. I don't know, but it was insanely busy. At 6 o'clock in the morning, it was insanely busy in the Minneapolis airport. And it's always busy in the Atlanta airport because it is the busiest airport in the world, and I kind of hate going through Atlanta. But despite the crowds and how busy it was with passengers and crew, there was space available in the sleeping room. So I pulled out a pillow and blanket, and I went in with my brand new, really great noise cancellation headphones that make ASMR sound fantastic. I listened to ASMR and took a nap. Took a really solid nap. And my gate that I needed to get to was right next to the gate that the crew lounge is located under. So that was awesome. I didn't have to really wake up, you know, very early before my flight to go, you know, take the train to a different terminal. I think I set my alarm for 5 or 10 minutes before I was due at the gate, and just took the elevator up and walked over, and then had a very easy flight to Florida. Really good crew. I think they went out to get some food together, but I don't need to be spending money like that right now. And I had leftover saffron rice and orange chicken from yesterday that I actually brought with me to eat, and I'm so proud of myself. And for doing that, I was rewarded with the hotel that we're staying at. It's one of the ones that has like a literal kitchen in it. It's like an apartment. It has like a full-sized fridge and freezer. It has a sink. It has a dishwasher. It has a 2-burner burner electric plate stove. It has a microwave. It has a cabinet full of dishes and a drawer full of utensils. It has spatulas and stuff. It has pots and pans. It has dish soap. It has a coffee maker. I mean, honestly, if you just, there's room next to the microwave. If you just added a toaster oven, because that's the only thing that this little kitchenette doesn't have is an oven. If you just added like a pretty decently sized toaster oven to this place, it would make honestly a perfectly fine studio apartment. Like, it's small, but it's cozy and it's got everything that you need. There's a little desk underneath the TV. There's a nice big window, big comfy bed, but not so big that it feels like the room is smaller due to its size. It's got a chair. It's got a nice bathroom, a closet. Like, you could totally treat this as an apartment if it just had a toaster oven. So that was nice, because I just had the chicken and rice piled together in a quart container, pint container, like the deli takeout containers. But I got to be so civilized because I got to put it into an actual bowl and invert it so that the rice was back on the bottom again, like it should be. And I was gonna go so far as to reheat the chicken separately in a skillet so it'd get a little bit crispy again, but I didn't want to take it that far. I didn't want to do that many dishes. So, but yeah, I got really rewarded with me bringing my own food to save money. It's the first time I've ever done that. I don't really meal prep. I'll bring snacks sometimes, but I don't have a lunchbox for work. I just got one, but I haven't. It's really, really big. I was being very aspirational when I bought that lunchbox. I was thinking I was gonna really be meal prepping food for 3 meals a day for the 3 days that I was gone, plus drinks and stuff, which hopefully I'll get there. But right now I have a luggage topper that carries a couple of my things, and I just wedged it in there with an ice pack, and it was cold when I took it out, but it's not exactly a lunchbox, so I was very highly rewarded for my first time bringing my own meal, to have this whole kitchen to prepare it in. And I ate that, and it was still as delicious as it was yesterday. And I've been watching some Dexter, and now it is 7:30. So I'm gonna wrap up this video, and I'm gonna wash my face. Maybe I'll take a shower tonight so that I don't have to get up earlier in the morning. I don't know. But I'm gonna wrap up this video so that I can get to sleep shortly here. And because I got another early day tomorrow. The van is gonna be picking us up at 4:10 in the morning, and then we're going from here back to Atlanta, I believe. Hopefully not with a long sit. Again, I haven't looked that far ahead, but I don't think there's a long sit, because then we go straight from Atlanta to Toronto, and we have a longer layover in Toronto, which wouldn't really be possible if we had another long sit in Atlanta. And then it'll be cold again once I get to Toronto, so I'm glad I still have all of my layers. And I'm going to go to a Christmas market. I mentioned that in my last video or so, and one of you who's familiar told me which one to go to, so I'm very excited. I still don't need to be spending money, but I would like to walk around and look at Christmas lights and maybe get a hot chocolate. The one thing that's saving my wallet right now is the fact that my Fort Lauderdale layover wasn't very long regardless, because I pretty much when we get here, we had to wait for our shuttle for a while, and then there was traffic, and I think it was already pushing 5 p.m. when I was eating my food. So, by the time I got to the hotel and I ate my food, there wasn't really much time left in the day, which is the first thing that saved me and my wallet. The second thing that saved me and my wallet is, thankfully, the layovers go Fort Lauderdale and then Canada, and not the other way around. Because it was Canada first and then Fort Lauderdale, I probably would have still tried to go to find a plant nursery that was open while I was here, because I like to plant shop in Florida because of the climate. You can find some really cool plants in Florida, but I could not have done that today, even if I had the time, because you can't transport agricultural products across the borders into the United States and back. So I could not have traveled into Canada or back out of Canada if I had bought a plant in Florida today. So that's saving my wallet. Thank you, universe, for that. Okay, that's enough yapping. I'm going to go to sleep or something. Maybe shower, then go to sleep. I hope that you enjoyed this video. It's amazing the way that I can just talk about nothing for so long. I hope that you find that relaxing and that you get some good sleep. If you did, I hope that you're subscribed so that you can catch me in my next video. Until then,